Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rail Kiss podcast. I know I say all my guests are special, but this is a truly special friend from Austin, Texas. And in true introvert fashion, she just wanted me to introduce her as Miranda Kittie, cancer survivor and engineer turned full-time dancer. But I'm going to read her full bio because y'all need to know who we're talking to today. So, Miranda Kittie is a professional dancer born with passion and purpose for dance, and I totally agree to that. In her 27 years of dancing, she has competed, choreographed, performed, and coached many dance styles and considers herself a Jill of all trades. As a teacher, Kittie's specialty is empowering people to find their confidence through dance. At the heart of her passion is the liberation of both the body and mind from societal expectations and predetermined narratives around feminine, sensual expression. As a performer, Kittie lures you into her sensuous world to connect you with your voice within that also yearns to be unleashed. So this woman is a powerhouse. Thank you for joining me today, Kittie.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to have you. And I was thinking about our history and I realized that you were one of my very first Kizomba movement teachers. I remember going to your class and I'm pretty sure that you're the one who taught me about pistons and pelvic tilt. Holy crap, I learned all of that from you.
Yep, mind blown.
Yeah, so you played such a big
Ah,
part in my Kizomba journey. So thank you.
yeah, I'm happy to be that for you. We all have that person in our dance journey.
Yeah. Who was it for you?
Marietta.
Okay, that's what I thought because when I moved to Seattle and I continued learning Kizomba, I continued learning body movement from her. So I feel like it's gone full circle. I started with you and I ended with Marietta. That's so cool though. I really love that. So the topic that I wanted us to talk about today was how introverts and extroverts have a different experience in the dance scene, particularly the Kizomba dance scene, although I think it really applies to any dance scene because they're all fairly similar. There was a time in my life where I considered myself an extrovert, although now looking back at it, I don't know if that was really true because for a while now, I have considered myself an introvert, and I feel like I have used that as an excuse almost to justify certain behaviors and a way of being out in the world. And having taken a closer look, I'm starting to question whether it's my introversion or whether it's just a lack of confidence.
Mm.
So I thought that you, Kitty, would be the perfect person to explore this with because I know for a damn fact that you are an introvert.
How could you know?
Your alone time, your space, your little cave. I remember when I went to your apartment, you had like you had your own little dance studio and you had a pole and you had your cats and also, one of my first memories of you was my very first One Kiss in 2019. I just knew who you were. And I remember you were dancing by yourself. So, anyway, you are definitely an introvert, but also you were one of the most confident dancers. You are definitely one of the most confident humans that I know. So, I just want to know, like, how is that? How is it possible? And I know it's possible because I know that there are introverted artists and DJs in the scene. So let's explore
Mm-hmm.
that. Can you tell us about your journey with dance and confidence and just how did you get to be who you are right now?
Well, as you explained your journey, similarly, I think we're all evolving and figuring out who we are. I think a lot about introversion because, yes, I'm an introvert and now I'm in a profession of teaching dance and I'm just learning that I want to learn skills, like social skills, to be a better dance teacher, to be better at my profession. So I think a lot and I notice a lot in myself and how I'm behaving and like my own reactions. Yeah, you mentioned like introversion and self-confidence. And for me, I notice introversion and then I feel like social anxiety. So, and I think sometimes just talking with others and just how other people talk about introversion, I think there's so many things that could be wrapped up in how people bucket introversion. And so I think it's also important to define, for me, the way I talk about introverts and extrovert. Introvert is you get energy from being by yourself. Extroverts, you get energy from being with others. And I think my goal is to be somewhere in the middle, because I think so many thoughts. I think like if you consider yourself introverted, like I don't need people for energy, then I think maybe you're not in touch with the fact that we all have a human need for human connection. And then like on the opposite spectrum of being extroverted, and maybe it's like a disconnect from you in your relationship with yourself, that you can't feel energized being alone. In my personal journey, I try to strive to be in the middle. But yeah, I know that I definitely feel more energized being alone. So I call myself an introvert. But then as I'm trying to teach or trying to interact socially, I'm just like, well, why am I feeling anxiety just standing in front of a group of people like this? I can feel safe. I am safe. And so yeah, at this point in my life, that's where I'm at. Like, yes, I'm introverted, but I'm working through these things so that I can be a better teacher. I also think it's like, it's part of our purpose here on Earth to interact with humans. We're here on Earth with other people. Being social and being comfortable being around other people is kind of a necessity, being a human on this planet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do agree that both introverts and extroverts are social, except that I think introverts are very selectively social. I love being social in small groups with my friends. I do not like being social in big groups with strangers. Like you said, social anxiety. If you invite me to a party and I'm not going to know anyone there except you, the host, I'm not going to go. I think going to a dance festival is a little different because I feel like I don't have to be social. Like I don't have to talk to anyone. I can just dance. So that's fine. And I think that's why a lot of introverts are drawn to dance, is because it is a social activity. Like you're still getting that energy from people, but there's less social anxiety because you don't have to talk to them, you don't have to get to know them, you don't have to have a conversation with them. And also, the big thing about introverts is that we can be social, but after we're social, we feel incredibly drained. Like our social battery just depletes, and we need to recharge by ourselves. So, yes, we re energize by ourselves, but we still need human contact, absolutely. And also, I was thinking about the desire to be seen and desire to be known, because I always thought extroverts love performing and they love putting themselves out there because, they want the attention and they want to be seen and they want to be known. But then I think that also applies to introverts as well and to everyone, because we all have that inherent desire to be seen and to be known, even if we do struggle to put ourselves out there.
Yeah, I agree. It's part of the human experience to want to be understood. Yeah, and I also thought like I love to perform, and this kitty persona who has started to encompass who I am personally as well, as a dancer, as a teacher, just like online presence and like performance. I'm putting myself out there a lot. These are like extroverted qualities. Performing as an introvert, and how does that work? A lot of people don't understand how I'm actually introverted, but I put myself out there so much. And yeah, kind of how you were talking about the social dancing. You can be introvert and still interact socially. For performing, for me, the dance is the little bubble and the little container. It's how you also saw me dancing on my own. I'm still in my little bubble. It just so happens that people are watching me. It's just like a safe place for me to feel seen. Also, because it kind of loops into my cancer journey and how it affected the part of my brain that controlled my speech. I've recently, like very recently, realized that I probably have a lot of social anxieties because I had a brain tumor in high school. Like, these are very critical social development years.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how did that affect you in high school? Can you tell us about younger Kitty? And was younger Kitty always as confident as you are right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I've always been in my bubble, always been happy in my experience and who I am. I think along the way, growing up and learning how to relate to people, and I really think romantic relationships really affected that bubble, of course, because you're like opening that bubble. And I found insecurities and stuff that way. And so, no, I haven't always been confident. I really took a traumatic romantic relationship and then just a moment of me being like, just reflecting on myself in that moment and realizing this isn't who I am. This isn't my bubble. What happened to my bubble? And that time also happened around quarantine. So it was also kind of special because I got to go back into my bubble and rebuild that for myself. And then that's really what brought about my passion for empowering other people, because I was like, oh, cool. Like, I got to turn to dance and heels dance and connect with myself in this really empowering way. And so it helped me share that with the world.
Yeah.
But my cancer experience, well, I was a freshman in high school and I found out I had a brain tumor because there were symptoms like I had headaches and nausea and this cross-eyed. And so I found out I had a brain tumor, went into surgery. I had two surgeries. I was hospitalized for 6 weeks. And I went back to my life outside the hospital. And I was homeschooled for a bit. And then I went back to school part-time. But thinking about it now, it just distanced me so much from the other students, from the high school experience. And after that, coming back into high school, freshman year, and all of that happened the first 6 weeks of freshman year. So it was like just starting something new and then trying to explain to high schoolers what I had gone through. And they're just overwhelmed, don't know how to receive that, don't know how to treat me. And so I'm trying to navigate what I'm going through and also process as a high schooler how other people are treating me. So I think that made me become more introverted, just be more in my bubble. Physically, the surgeries affected a lot of things like motor control, my muscles, so it affected my whole body, and then also my speech and my balance. And all of the physical things, dance helped me heal, but the speech one is a really hard thing for me. And I think it still presents itself because I still get emotional when I speak and use my voice. But it's just kind of something I've lived with and navigated since high school.
Well, I really admire you being vulnerable and putting yourself out there in terms of speaking, because using your voice is your vulnerable spot. So for you, that's putting yourself out there. Dressing up in sexy ass clothes and performing a hat ass routine, to you that's nothing. That is not putting yourself out there. To you that's like a Tuesday. That's like a walk in the park. But doing this podcast and using your voice and sharing verbally about yourself and your experience, like that is what is putting yourself out there looks like. I'm just realizing that.
Yeah,
So
I
thank
think,
you.
yeah, of course. Thanks for saying that. I think a lot about vulnerability too, because I don't know, I think there's something about it that builds confidence actually. The more vulnerable you are, and then you're either well received or you're not, and you navigating that and just coming back to yourself and going through that builds that relationship and kind of self trust with yourself. And that's what self confidence is.
That's a really it's a really good way to put it actually. So it's trusting yourself to be seen and to be vulnerable, and then also trusting yourself to handle whatever repercussions of that may be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I totally know what you mean about your bubble because as introverts, I know we internalize our experience. So everything that we're going through, we create a story around it in our heads. So it's really like we're living in our own little world, our own bubble, like you said. So when I'm at a social, when I'm dancing, I'm literally creating a story about all of this, about everything that I'm going through, giving it meaning, significance, all of that.
Mhm.
And that may or may not be true, but it's my experience and what I'm going through. But it may not be the objective truth that's out there. So it's always working on reconciling those two. You said that you started to gain confidence through dance, and especially after your breakup post pandemic or in the pandemic when you started heels dancing. And I've heard other women also talk about how doing heels dancing really gave them confidence. And I think I've been to one of your heels classes and
Oh boy.
I just can't. Like, to me, that just gives me so much anxiety.
Well, Annabelle, you say you want to work on your confidence.
I do. I just don't think I have it in me. It's like, yes, I want to be seen. I want to put myself out there.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, I almost have to create like an alter ego. It's like, so I feel like Kitty is your like persona, like you said, like your sexy, confident alter ego. And like I feel like I would need something like that.
Yeah, do it. Yes. Who is she? We'll name her now, like a Russian name. What do you think?
Russian name, Natasha.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, we all have so many different sides of ourselves. And yeah, it's just building the connection with that side of yourself. And if you have to call it something different, do it. And then eventually you build that relationship so much that it becomes part of yourself.
I think the other thing that's always been holding me back is that fear of being judged and perceived negatively by others. Because, yeah, I also like to perform. I've been in some performance teams. I've competed in some dance competitions, but I've always had that fear if I don't do well, then what are people going to think? And like, what is their perception of me going to be? And I hate saying this, but I care what other people think to an extent, of course. I think I care what people I know, people I care about, people whose opinion I care about, which is obviously not everyone. Like if it's strangers, I don't care about strangers, but people who I admire, people whose opinion I care about, I am shy around them. And I'm also recently realized that shyness is just lack of confidence. And of course, like all these labels, introversion, extroversion, confident, shy, outgoing, these are all just labels that we put on behaviors. But I feel like they all have deeper roots that stem from our childhood. We are the way we are for a reason. Something had to have happened to us to have shaped our social development.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, well, I want to say, of course, you care about what others think. Other people think. It comes back to being on this earth to relate to people. That's how I relate to people. That's a completely natural thing. I think what starts to happen is it's kind of like you start to build this relationship with that thing, and then it starts to mean so much to you that if there's someone that thinks or feels a type of way about it and they're thinking something about you, your relation to this thing and what it means to you starts to be more important than what they're thinking or saying. And that there just becomes a moment where you kind of just decide, oh, well, actually, I'm just going to keep doing this no matter what you say.
Even if
Even
I suck at it?
Well, yes, it might not be that way at first. And yeah, it's your commitment to yourself of saying, oh, well, I want to explore this because I want to build my confidence. And it's part of being a beginner and learning something new. Like it's part of the learning process. And sucking at something is part of learning something, you could argue, or people like to say the more you suck at something, if you keep going, the better you're going to be because you've figured out a way to get where you are from sucking so much. And so you've actually learned a lot along that way
Hmm.
versus someone that was already good at it. They don't have the experience of starting from sucking.
So then they're just already confident off the bat.
Well, I guess I would say their confidence doesn't run as deep. your journey from sucking to there built confidence because you went through all of that. And their journey was just shorter, and that doesn't invalidate their confidence or what their confidence is.
When I see all the women posting these gorgeous styling videos, dancing kizomba, and at first I'm like, oh, they all must be extroverts. But now I know that that is actually nothing to do with it. But they're all hella confident. Like they're all really confident to put themselves out there like that. And also, I feel like they must not care about what anyone thinks. So, again, I guess I'm just still struggling with how to get there because I know you said do it until you have a relationship with it that you just value what you get out of it so much more than anyone's criticism of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to get started to
Mm-hmm.
actually do it. And I think what has always held me back is, again, using my introversion as an excuse. Like, I can't do that. I can't record a solo video of me dancing because that's just not me. I don't have it in me.
But there's part of you that's here talking about it now, and you want this for yourself. There's a part of you in there that wants it because you're curious about it.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely thought about it. I do enjoy dancing by myself, but I'm always so scared to record myself
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I think that my self-criticism is also what keeps me from doing it. So
Yeah.
how do we address that?
And being kinder to yourself as a beginner, as you're learning something new. Yeah, also realizing it's harder to grow being hard on yourself. Like the way that you help a flower, a plant grow is anything you speak, like affirmations towards it, you encourage it. Like it's like, yeah, it's like a child. It's like the inner child that's afraid. You say, that's okay. You fell down. That's okay. Like it's all gonna be okay. And you help them keep going and keep learning. So yeah, that self-criticism. Yeah, you kind of, well, in the same way that you can create this Natasha character of like amazingness, you can create another character, don't even want to give a name, but another character who's, I don't know, paper plate, and just say, no, paper plate, like, no, 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 you're not being helpful. And just kind of labeling it as that. So you kind of separate from self criticism. It's not yourself, it's the thing in your brain that's insecurity.
I know it sounds like a multiple personality disorder.
I think, I think it's just being a human being that is aware of all of everything that's going on in their body.
Okay, so it's not a mental illness if I
It's not. It's
have
not,
all these
no.
characters that I create of myself.
You don't have to name them, but it helps. It helps if you're struggling. Well, yeah, it helps to kind of choose your identity.
I like that. I like the choosing your identity part. That resonates. Okay, let's shift a little bit and talk about how introverts and extroverts have different experiences in dance classes and at dance festivals and at dance events. And I still believe that dance events almost cater to extroverts because it depends on the event. Some events are bigger than others. I think as an introvert, I do prefer smaller events where there's less people. It feels more intimate. I'm more likely to actually meet people and have some quality interactions aside from dancing. Whereas if I go to like a really, really big festivals, especially if I go by myself, which I've had to do since I moved to Europe, is before I made dance friends, I had to go to festivals by myself. And there were times where I just felt so completely alone in this hotel full of people. And I just felt so lonely and it made me not have a good time. So, what do you think organizers and dance teachers need to keep in mind to help out their introvert attendees and
Mhm.
make things easier for them and more enjoyable?
Mhm. Well, I'd be curious, what organizers are introverted, yeah, I'd be curious how much they understand what introverted means. But I think also it makes me think about dance and going to places with people is a social activity. Yeah, you can't really take out the social aspect of it, but we can learn more about introverts and what introverts need and create more space to help them navigate social spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I think what has helped me is taking my own space to kind of feel myself and then go back in and just kind of like enter and exit as I need, kind of managing my own energy levels. But I think for me, it's personally nice to have like a lounge area, just like a hangout place where you don't feel like you're alone, sitting or standing in a corner by yourself. Maybe we're all sitting in this general area, and then there's like the social dancing area. But like, yeah, I don't know, maybe, or a different space, like a chill room or a more energetic room. And you can kind of manage it that way. I think we can have more understanding just in social interactions in general. That introverts are already struggling to manage their social like interactions and like their social batteries, and maybe not taking how people interact with you personally. If like someone's in their bubble and doesn't acknowledge you, doesn't say hi to you, like just don't take it personally. Yeah, just to create more space for people and different experiences, not take someone sitting in the corner as without a smile on their face, as don't interpret it as they're mean or don't want to interact. And maybe, yeah, just how people, how people interact with different kinds of people. Maybe don't assume that someone sitting in the corner also doesn't want to interact. Maybe they're just struggling to to make that initial like interaction. And maybe you try going up to someone in the corner, but then also not taking it personally if there's like no response or no reciprocation. And yeah, kind of using extroverts as a way to help introverts navigate this social environment.
So, like, every extrovert needs to adopt an introvert. I think that's actually a really good idea. Also, everyone needs name tags at all the events. I think it would make it so much better, at least for like maybe the first day or like, at least during workshops. If you wear a name tag and then under your name tag, you should say introvert, extrovert, or ambivert, whatever, because everything's on a spectrum. And then that way people will know what your name is and also a little bit about what to expect from you. Like, obviously, if I'm an introvert, don't expect me to be super high energy. And that's another thing. I went to this workshop a couple of months ago, and it was really interesting because there were multiple teachers there. And some of the teachers were extroverts and some of the teachers were introverts. And it was so obvious what teachers were extroverts because they started their part of the class with all high energy. They're like, yeah, so excited. Woo, give me, yeah, so high energy. And I'm like, I swear I'm excited to be here, but I'm
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna show it.
yeah.
I'm gonna smile. That's all you're gonna get out of me, the smile. And
Well,
then the introverted teachers, they were just so calm, so grounded. It's like you could immediately feel the energy. Not like low, but just it's stable. Like it's stable, it's secure. Like I'm feeling good. They're still commanding the room and they're amazing teachers, but they're like just very like calm. They're not like yelling, screaming, shouting. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the calmness and the groundedness that you brought to this room.
well, I think like the same way we want people to create space for people to be introverted and in their bubble, we also have to create space for people to be loud and energetic and express themselves.
Yes,
So,
that's true. Yes, I know. But I feel like that happens so much. Like there is so much of that in the dance scene already. Like there is so much excitement. There is so much performing and
I mean, I think about that a lot for myself as well because, yes, the same thing. People having a lot of energy, being excited makes me feel something in my body.
Mhm.
But I For me personally, it's more kind of like, I guess I'm also at a point where I also desire to express myself and be loud and show excitement to relate to people. And so I just think about, well, why am I feeling that way in response to what they have going on? And so it's also how do we find our own grounding
Mm.
in any situation when someone else is excited, like in a room full of people. And maybe, yeah, people have different access to finding their own grounding, but how do we help people do that too?
I know for me, when people around me are very high energy, it is emotionally dysregulating for me, especially if there's no structure to that energy.
Hmm.
Because you can say that salsa dancing is very high energy.
Hmm.
And I love salsa dancing. Like, I'm all about that. Yes, I feel like that's actually maybe the only time I feel like comfortable expressing high energy.
Yeah.
But I feel like it has structure because it's a dance and I'm in the dance. But you know, when they're doing like Afro dance animation at a Kizomba festival,
Huh?
to me, it's like it has structure, but not
Mm.
enough structure. So that gives me anxiety.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you, but I think as a dance teacher, I am creating this space for people, and it's about the energy that I bring to the class. I set the tone. And I think about it because I started working with kids, and like with kids to like help them be interested, be engaged, and that's going to help their learning process. You have to be animated. You have to like everything's so exciting and wow, the world is so beautiful and I'm a Disney princess. And so that's what I've personally been working on. And so as a dance teacher, I'm always thinking about bringing that energy. And as an introvert, it's oh my gosh, it's so hard. I'm building this skill that feels like pulling teeth and like, yeah, awkward and uncomfortable. And like, gosh, I leave class like, oh my, like, I feel so awkward. But I have this purpose of wanting to try this new thing, grow and stuff.
Okay, respect. But I know you also teach adults because I know you also
Hmm.
coach some dance teams.
Hmm.
So the way that you teach kids, is it different? Do you bring different energy to the adults you work with and teach?
Yeah, I think it's more that adults can manage their own focus, their own emotions. They can manage a lot of
Well,
things by
sometimes.
themselves. So with a child, I feel like I do have more responsibility to help them manage these things. So yeah, I do have to give more energy. With adults, I don't have to, but I think that if I do, if I'm smiling, if I'm friendly, if I feel familiar, if my energy is more out there, it helps people feel more comfortable. And so in that way, they're going to open up more. They're going to learn more. Maybe it's a little different. I don't have to make everything so animated, but I think it is still important. Especially maybe it's because we're in class learning something new, and maybe that can feel vulnerable for students. And so it's kind of like I have to speak and be there for their inner child that feels vulnerable.
Mm,
And maybe also dance class isn't that deep for a lot of people, but actually I think it is that deep for a lot of people. It's just maybe not
so deep.
everyone goes there. Some people might just keep it at surface level.
When you see another dance teacher or another performer, can you tell if they are an introvert or an extrovert? Like, do you recognize your own? Are you able to?
I
One
guess
of us, one of us.
I would say maybe we can speculate from video or from watching, but I think
Mhm.
I could maybe get a better feel from energy if I'm standing next to them. But no, I think it would take a lot of observation of how they behave to have a guess. But even still, I could guess and they'll describe themselves differently.
I've been thinking about this a lot and watching dance videos, trying to figure out which artists are introverts and which ones are extroverts. And I have this speculation that artists who are, when they perform a demo or a show, if they're really interacting with the audience and connecting with the audience, I feel like those are the extroverts. And artists who are either more focused in themselves, you could literally see, oh, they're in their own little world performing this choreo. Or if it's a couple dancing, if they're just solely focused on just each other and they're so connected and in tune with each other, it's like the rest of the world, the audience doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, those are introverts. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that could kind of track because, well, at least for me, doing a demo and performing can be a nerve-wracking space. And so the way you approach that space, if it's like connecting with others because you want to get energy, or if it's trying to stay in your little bubble because that's how you're able to navigate that situation, I think that could kind of track. But I don't think always. Maybe you're extroverted, but you don't have to connect with everyone. You're extroverted and connecting with your partner.
Maybe. I'm trying to think back on my performance days, and yeah, I think I definitely just try to focus on my partner and then maybe one or two people in the audience.
Yeah, although for me on the flip side, I still describe myself as introverted, but I'm looking at everyone. I'm like, are you watching? Watch. Hello, I'm here.
No, I love that. It's like you're commanding people to watch you.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, being around other dancers, I think there's a lot of introverts that also love to perform. Yeah, I guess there's something else there that's affecting that.
Okay, interesting. I love that. I thought of another thing that organizers can do to make their events more introvert friendly. Smaller workshop classes are a lot more manageable. If I go into a room and it's the full size ballroom size workshop where everything is filled, there's a ton of people there, then there's no way I'm staying in that workshop because that is just too much stimulation, too many people, way too chaotic. But I think smaller size workshops, smaller spaces, less people, that is much more manageable, at least for me.
My mind goes straight to, well, how do we like create space for everyone? How do we still have a large workshop? Like, can you imagine can you just shield yourself mentally, emotionally, just shield yourself from the other energies? Because it's kind of like if someone's yelling at you, you don't have to take that energy in. If you enter the whole classroom, you don't have to take that energy in. So it's kind of like strengthening your little bubble because you know that this is a space that has a lot of people. But that being said, I think like everyone's different and there's space for both. Like we can provide that space. We can have small workshops, but it's also like, yeah, as an introvert, we can't not go into the world.
I
It's like,
know, it's not
how
our
do we
world. You're like, let's make it inclusive for everyone. I'm like, no, let's make it just friendly for introverts. We need this. Extroverts don't need this. I feel like extroverts can thrive in like any environment. Like they're fine. They don't need the special treatment. Introverts do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's kind of true. Being social is such a crucial human skill to get our human connection. And so if you struggle to be social, you're at a lack kind of. And so if there's these extroverts that have all the skill and are able to interact and stuff, yeah, it's like how do we help our other people? Having more understanding, we can have more understanding for people in general always. I mean, at least for me, every introverted interaction I have where I feel awkward, I'm just like, I just walk away and I hope they have understanding and know that I'm not rude. I wasn't trying to be rude. I'm just socially awkward. I'm just socially struggling. Can you understand that, please? Thank you.
Yes, please and thank you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yes. Let's do it. Let's make a festival only for introverts.
I
Let's
would
do
love
that.
that so much. Yes,
Yeah.
introverts and neurodivergent people.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
I'm also like, is that an introvert thing or is that me being on the spectrum thing? And I think the two are kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I read somewhere recently that humans and human behavior is not awkward. It's just that certain social situations are awkward. So the situations themselves are awkward, and our behavior in these situations is appropriate for the situation. But we label the behavior awkward and not the situation. And I think it makes a difference if we just say, like, oh, that was an awkward situation, but I'm not awkward and my behavior wasn't awkward. It was just an awkward position to be in.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. It is helpful to just say that was an awkward situation. And yeah, next time, the part that I played in it, next time I'm gonna choose to try and behave differently. But I also think about awkwardness, and nothing's awkward. Nothing's awkward. The person that's using that word is just feeling uncomfortable. Like, I'm so sorry that I didn't interact with you socially the way that makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, you're right. It is. I mean, awkwardness is discomfort. It really all
Yeah,
it is. That is such a good definition for it.
yeah. So, how do we build comfort, and how do we transmute those uncomfortable feelings? How do we release them? Because then you could just experience what is happening as what is happening. It doesn't have to be awkward.
Yeah, like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think, like you said before, that just comes from practice and being kind to yourself about it. And then doing it to the point where it's completely normalized and your reaction to it and your feelings towards it are also completely normalized.
Yeah, but I also think feeling uncomfortable, these feelings are natural. Even just experiencing anything new feels uncomfortable. So if something's different, if something's like wasn't expected, if you're meeting a new person, it can all bring up uncomfortable feelings, just like different feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, do you have any last thoughts to share about confidence and introversion and social anxiety and awkwardness and uncomfortableness and putting yourself out there?
Man, I think just being kinder to yourself, to others, and like kindness meaning understanding, not taking things personally, just having like immense understanding for people and different experiences, and for yourself. Immense understanding and compassion for yourself is how you'll build confidence and just like falling in love with yourself no matter how you perceive yourself to be. You are your person guiding your little self along your journey. How are you guiding your little person? Are you putting them down? Or are you like helping them and picking them up and keeping them going? That's all going to build your own love and your own relation to yourself. And then it's going to present itself in your relationships and how you navigate the world and interact with people. Because that's just how love works. When you love yourself, you love others.
I love that. They're very, very wise words, Miss Kitty.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're introverted. It's just there with your thoughts
Yes, so
all
many
day.
thoughts, so much internalized wisdom.
Thanks for helping me share it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it. Can you tell everyone where they can find you and follow you and maybe learn from you if they're in Texas?
Yeah, I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm on Instagram at miranda.kittie.dance. My website, kittie.dance, is coming soon. Yeah, I love to help people. I love to help people feel confident and with dancing, with anything, but my avenue is through dance. Yeah, if you're in Austin, Texas, message me on Instagram. My group classes are pole dancing, twerk dancing, heels dancing, reggaeton. But as I'm navigating my full-time dancer life, I now teach salsa, bachata, wedding dances, quinceañeras, bachelorette parties, date
And
night.
Kizomba, you sometimes teach Kizomba on Sundays at Esquina Tango.
Sometimes I help them
Yeah.
meet, yes. I still love to dance kizomba. I love to dance Brazilian zouk. I'm in a show December 18th and 19th if you're in Austin. You can come see. It's salsa, it's Afro Latin fusion. Yeah, you can come see this little introvert pour her heart out on stage.
It's a beautiful sight to behold.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks, Kitty. We will post all your info in the show notes. And
Yay.
everyone watching and listening, leave a comment, give us a follow, and we'll see you in the socials.
Yay.
Bye.